Today we're going to dive into the science behind a really interesting supplement that takes aim at the very hallmarks of aging. Now, it's made of just 2 simple amino acids, but the theory behind it, it's pretty profound. So the big question is, could a little cellular tune-up actually help slow down the clock?
To really get to the heart of this, I want you to think about aging in a slightly different way. What if we could slow down our body's own internal rusting process? Now, I know it sounds a little strange, but it's actually a powerful metaphor for what's happening deep, deep inside our cells as we get older.
So let's get into it. Let's explore the core problem that scientists are really trying to solve here. It's a constant microscopic battle that's happening inside you right now, a process called oxidative stress. Here's a simple way to think about it. Your cells, just by living and breathing and making energy, they create a kind of cellular exhaust. These are called reactive oxygen species, or ROS for short. Now, your body has this amazing cleanup crew of antioxidants that's supposed to handle it. But as we age, the exhaust just starts to build up way faster than the crew can clean. And that imbalance, it causes damage. That, right there, is oxidative stress.
And this is where the numbers really tell the story. This is data from one study that shows that even in perfectly healthy older adults, a key marker for that cellular damage is about 16% higher than in young folks. But look at that next line, the general inflammation marker, it's a staggering 300% higher. And just to be clear, we're not talking about a disease here, this is just a hallmark of typical aging.
Okay, so if our cells are under this constant attack from oxidative stress, what's protecting them? Well, it's time to meet our body's master antioxidant, a super important molecule called glutathione. You can think of it as a personal bodyguard for every single cell in your body.
And this chart, wow, it just lays out the other half of the problem so perfectly. As that oxidative stress goes up with age, our main line of defense goes down. In one pilot study, they found that older adults had 76% lower levels of this crucial bodyguard molecule inside their red blood cells. So yeah, the cleanup crew is severely understaffed.
So, this brings us to the theory behind the supplement GlyNAC. And honestly, it's elegantly simple. See, glutathione isn't something you can just eat in your food. Your body has to make it from scratch. But what if the factory is just running low on the raw materials, specifically these amino acids, glycine and cysteine? The big idea is what happens if you just deliver more supplies?
And that is exactly what scientists decided to do. So let's take a look at this one really fascinating pilot study. They gave GlyNAC to a small group of older adults, and then they just watched them for 24 weeks to see what would happen.
And the results from this trial? Well, they were nothing short of remarkable. After 24 weeks, glutathione levels shot up by 200%, and that oxidative stress we talked about, it dropped by 74%. But what's really cool is that the effects weren't just on a cellular level. They saw huge improvements in things like insulin resistance and inflammation. And even physical function got better. Muscle strength went up, and their gait speed, which is a key indicator of health, actually increased to match the young adults.
So you're probably looking at this and thinking, wow, that's an open and shut case, right? A miracle supplement. But you know, science is never quite that simple. One incredible pilot study is a fantastic clue, but it's not the final conclusion. And then a second, larger, more robust study came along, and its results, well, they created a real scientific puzzle.
All right, let's dig into this mystery. We need to put on our detective hats here for a second and try to figure out why another major trial didn't find these same clear-cut, amazing results.
So this second study, it was a randomized controlled trial with 114 people, so way bigger than the pilot. But after 2 weeks of supplementation, they found no statistically significant increase in their main goal, which was raising total glutathione levels for the group. So, what gives?
So, how in the world do we solve this apparent contradiction? Well, the most crucial clue is sitting right there on this slide in that very first row. Duration. One trial was a 24-week deep dive. The other was just a 2-week snapshot. And if you look closely at the nuance, the shorter trial did actually help a specific subset of people, the ones who started out with really high oxidative stress. And this quote from that successful 24-week study, this is kind of the smoking gun. It says that when the participants stopped taking GlyNAC, their benefits started to disappear. This really suggests that the positive effects are not a quick fix. It looks like they require consistent long-term use to build up and, just as important, to be maintained. 2 weeks,
it just might not be enough time to really see a major change.
Okay, so let's put all these clues together. Let's zoom out and see what the big picture looks like right now, for GlyNAC and the whole science of aging.
And to really get why this stuff matters, just look at this number. Before they started the supplement in that pilot study, the older adults had insulin resistance levels that were 571% higher than the young adults. I mean, that is a huge deal, since high insulin resistance is linked to so many age-related problems. It just shows you the massive scale of the challenges these kinds of interventions are trying to tackle. So the crucial takeaway here is this. GlyNAC is probably not some magic bullet, but the evidence we have so far suggests it's a very promising strategy for helping our bodies fight back against that rust of aging. The key seems to be that this is a marathon, not a sprint. The benefits take time to build, and they absolutely require consistency to maintain.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating final thought to chew on. You know, maybe the real key to healthier aging isn't some complex new invention, but something that's already built right into our own biology, just waiting for us to give it the right support to do its job.